So I've always been brought up with art as a background. My mum was an interior designer, my dad was an artist, so I was the only one that wasn't self-employed working in a studio. So as soon as I did start doing that and doing that process, I realised actually it's just what I naturally wanted to do. And I started doing evening classes once a week, and then it became twice a week, and then my free time, holiday time, I was throwing continually. And then COVID happened. I set up a studio here, and then every free time I was throwing. And then the time came to go back to work, and I decided that I didn't want to do that, and I wanted to carry on working from home. It's completely different from my previous job, where it was the stress of a commute, a long working day in front of a computer screen. I get to wear my slippers all day. If I want to stop for a cup of tea, the kettle's never too far away. It's much more of a work-life balance, for sure. You know, there's no kind of like technology involved. It really is something that has been going on for thousands of years. And I look at, you know, really ancient pots and think that I could have a conversation if we spoke the same language with the person who made that pot. I think it's absolutely the process. It's not the final product. It's the process of making. And pottery is such a so varied. So one day I'll be throwing, another day I'll be creating glazes, I'll be decorating or putting handles on pots or trimming pots or photographing pots, uploading them, speaking to clients. So no 2 days are the same. I'm really lucky. My neighbours walk past every day, and they always stop and chat. And if they've got any gift needs or ceramic needs, they come and knock on the door, which is brilliant. And I can turn the music up really loud and have a bit of a party when I'm throwing as well. But I just love that peace and quiet. Once you start throwing, it's a bit like yoga for the mind, really. It kind of just slows everything down and you're totally focused. A lot of the designs for me come from the raw materials themselves. So I use cobalt quite often, and that once you add water to cobalt, it looks a lot like a really dark ink. So to me, it naturally lends itself to be drawn on like ink. I also use a lot of kind of cobalt pencils, and I love that sort of pencil line. So yeah, drawing on the pot with the oxides, it feels like you're drawing on paper, or it looks like you're drawing on paper. So yeah, a lot of my inspiration, I guess, comes from painting and drawing. Potentially from my childhood, watching my father painting and him teaching me as I was growing up. The way I kind of got started with selling ceramics, my first sale was online. So I used Etsy as a way of advertising my ceramics. Actually, would I have been so bold as to take my stuff out to a market for the first time and have a full range? Probably not. Making a living from pottery is something you has to be kind of multifaceted. So I'm really lucky enough to have kind of a wholesale wing to what I do. And through Etsy, I've had restaurants contact me, skincare companies, candle companies that have contacted me and given me work. It's meant that I've made connections that I wouldn't necessarily would have made just from being in Chipping Norton and the Cotswolds, it's really given me a much wider reach. I have some absolutely fantastic clients who I get to speak to, most days, and they're really passionate about what they do, which makes me really excited about creating ranges and working for them. Yeah, it's a really good balance, really good balance. I make all my own glazes from scratch using different minerals and oxides, and once you've made that glaze, you test it thoroughly, and then it will itself then produce a design almost, and then it's kind of how that makes you feel, and how you interpret it onto the pot really. The way that I've come across my style is just by really heavily editing stuff that hasn't worked. So you get then a real distilled, refined version of what you've been creating. My processes are so long, so in order to get a finished product, it's weeks and weeks of work of testing clays, making clays, waiting for something to dry. Sometimes it will crack and then you start again, and then firing, and then glazing again, and then firing again. And yeah, it's everything about pottery makes you stop and think, because there's such long processes that kind of punctuate that. So I make something, it's got to dry for a week, and then you fire it, and it's another 24 hours, and you've got to wait again, and you're constantly editing and changing what the final product's going to look like. You don't really know until you open the kiln at the end what it's going to look like. And it also means that every piece that someone has of yours is completely unique. It's never going to be, you can never replicate it. It feels that it's a bit alive really in that respect.